welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Awthentik and The Beard. You know what it is, man. Week 14 previews and predictions, man. All teams are on the road this week except the Washington football team. But DC knows how to make the Dallas Cowboys feel at home. We got a lot of Cowboys fans here in the Washington, D.C. area. You got the Giants traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers, and the Eagles are going to be on a bye this week. So we got a jam-packed show here. We're going to be pretty much split in half, talking about the New York Giants at the Los Angeles Chargers. And the second half of the show will be pretty much based on the Cowboys at Washington. We also got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Minnesota Vikings tonight for Thursday Night Football. That should be a really interesting matchup between two teams that are desperate to get a W. This is definitely a must-win game for both of those teams to try to keep their playoff hopes alive. Without further ado, before we bring in the strong side to my left side one time, you know what it is, man. The best TV show not on TV, Awthentik and The Beard. We want to welcome everybody in the chat one time. Let y'all populate in here. Let me bring in my brother from another one time. The Beard is in the building one time. Left side.
Strong side.
What it do, my dude? I'm digging that shirt already. I see you beat Dallas. It kind of reminds me of those, you remember those window stickers people used to always have on their cars back in the day where we had that little character peeing on the Dallas Cowboys star? Kind of reminds me of them kind of vibes right there.
Man. Shout out BB Jones. He said, where map at?
early. Shout out BB Jones one time in the building, man.
Nah, man, it's been a wild day, obviously. You know, I'm gonna talk about the Mike McCarthy comments at some point here.
You know I had that lined up in the intro.
Yeah. But no, I did want to give a big shout out to Pat McAfee and the boys over there, man. They secured the bag. It was major, and I mean, it's huge. And it really opened
$30 million.
Yeah, a year.
It's ridiculous.
For 3 years with a 4th-year option. So
like a first-round rookie draft pick.
Yeah, it's crazy. But like, it really opened up my eyes and kind of put things into perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, for all I can remember, all we've wanted to do is do things on our own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, when we first started rapping, it was like, you know, people wanted to buy studio time and make a demo. We were like, we're going to build a studio and we're going to put out our own albums, our own records. And then to watch, like, you go from that to, like, being, you know, one of the most respected people, whether it's engineering, making beats, you know, rhyming, all the classic albums you dropped, all the stages you performed on, the people you performed with, like, to go from where we were then to, you know, building a stage and taking the stage with us to the clubs and, you know, like bringing in kegs into clubs in DC, like to where you are now. And then, you know, it brought everything kind of full circle to Awthentik and The Beard. Like, I had this idea, you know, 3 years ago, and it was like this crazy idea. I was like, I want to talk about football, and I want to do it online, you know? And then I was like, there was only one person I could think of that I wanted to do that with, and that was with Awthentik. And it's like, you know, to try to build something with our boys. And obviously, you know, it's Awthentik and The Beard in the editing department, in the graphics department, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's us, you know, but like, you know, to see where we've came from over the last 3 years, you know, like, we're obviously not some crazy big channel, you know what I'm saying? But like, what we've built, it means something to me because we built it, you know what I'm saying? And like, through like from season 1 till now, and it's just like, it's crazy. I just want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat who has watched us, you know, whether it was day 1 or you just subscribed yesterday. Like, we would not be able to do this without you guys. And the fact that I'm able to come on here and talk football with my best friend, you know what I'm saying, and do this 3 times a week. And you know what I'm saying, like, this is like a job at the same time for us, you know, but like, we have so much fun doing it, and we do it because you guys show up each and every time we go live. And I just want to salute you guys, salute Awthentik, you know what I'm saying? It just kind of brought everything into perspective, how lucky I actually am. So big shout out to everybody.
That's
today.
A really good message, especially going into the holidays. And it kind of reminds me of something I retweeted today. The clip with Van Jefferson and Sean McVay, right? You know, it really pulled some things for me full circle, because a couple days ago I was on Twitter with a homie that I've done a lot of work with before, just talking about support. I saw him complaining about not getting support from his day ones. And, while talking to him, I didn't really realize this. But the next day when I saw that Van Jefferson clip, so Van Jefferson scores the touchdown. He comes back to the sidelines, and Sean McVay just pulls him to the side. He looks him right in the eye. He stopped him. He said, "Come here. I want you to look me in my eyes when I tell you this." He's like, "That's a big play." And then a couple seconds later, you see Van Jefferson go back to Sean McVay, and he says, "Coach, I just want to say, man, like I really like the belief that you have in me and that you believe in me, and that gives me more confidence," which prompted me to think about that conversation I had about support with my homie. It's like sometimes you don't necessarily need support. I think it's more important to be able to have those people around you that believe in you, because if they believe in you, you might not even need the support from them. They'll be able to give you that confidence that you need so you can spread your perennial wings here and fly. You know what I'm saying? So as far as Awthentik and The Beard goes, man, it's like, we don't, we're not thriving off of just like super chats and anything that has to do with the financial donation to this channel. It's more about just people pulling up and just believing in what we do over here and knowing that, yeah, we present one of the best shows on YouTube as far as Giants and Washington football team content goes, and just having y'all, having you guys have our back is very important to us, man. Y'all know that the saying here is left side, strong side, and that's really what it is. And at the same time, it's like me and The Beard are also just the left side, and the chat and everybody else who has belief in what we do, y'all are the strong side, to be honest.
Facts. So definitely big shout out to everybody. And let's go ahead and jump right into the chat. Shout out to, I'm just going to start calling you first in the building, Taylor.
If you're not first, you're last, Jameson. My man, what up?
Big shout out to Kevin the PRF. I was chopping it up with Kevin in the Louis T chat during the roundtable. So,
Dope.
Kevin, man, bring some of your Washington football team buddies over here, man. But yeah, Kevin was on a roll last episode. If you guys didn't catch that, Kevin's always holding down.
He sure was.
Big shout out to Kevin. LGZ Productions is in the building.
What up, Logan? How you looking, fam?
Good to see you. And you know it, Lax Fo is in the building. What's going on, Lax? Great to see you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Zachary says, "Sup, Awthentik and The Beard. Fire everyone."
Fire everyone is right, man. Was chopping it up with Zach and Online Big Blue stream a couple days ago, man. I got to catch up on some content, man. A lot of people dropped some fire content this morning and yesterday. I know Bad Dog's got a new video. Tim from Online Big Blue's got some new stuff. My man Entertainer's got the new video about why he thinks Daniel Jones is not the future for the New York Giants. And there's just been a lot of chatter going around. Oh, Big Pat put out a mock draft that my man Miz told me I got to check. Miz, my bad. I couldn't pop in last night, man. Things got a little hectic over here, man, and couldn't pop up into y'all stream, man. But I'm looking forward to going back and checking that one out.
And big shout out to Lucas dropping the newest slogan here at AATB.
Maybe that's the new hashtag right there, man. AATB. Shout out Lucas one time in the building.
Big shout out, Lucas. And there goes Miz right there. What's going on, brother? Great to see you.
Yeah, man. Miz gave me a phone call yesterday, man. We chopped it up for like an hour just talking Giants football, man, like some normal stuff, man. And that goes to show you how much we love this stuff, because even when we off air, off YouTube, we still chopping it up about Giants football no matter what.
Marjorie is in the building. What's going on, Marjorie? Good to see you.
What's up, Marjorie?
I don't know if Sunday's here or not, but I know she wasn't feeling well. So if you're not here watching right now, Sunday, just wanted to let you know we're thinking about you. Hope you get better soon.
For sure.
Just remembered that when I saw Marjorie, because the two of them always holding us down in the chat. Big shout out to JJ Stangl. Says, "What's up, fam? How's everybody doing? Good to see you, sir."
What up,
Brian
JJ?
is in the building. Says, "Hey guys, happy holidays. Awthentik, your Christmas gift might be a Daniel Jones shirt. Go Giants."
And Brian always chopping it up on Twitter about Daniel Jones, man. Salute to Brian pulling up in the chat, man. We appreciate your presence here, brother.
Big shout out to Mr. Mini Guy in the building. Appreciate you stopping by.
And
it looks like we just might have a new Dallas fan in the building.
Hey,
Cade McDonald.
What
Washington
up,
ready for that whooping. Thanks for joining us, Cade. We appreciate it for sure.
Appreciate you pulling up,
bro. And we got time. Says, "What's going on, fellas? I need Harris to go off."
You would think if it was ENA, it would be all capital letters. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But I want to say it was ENA. We got time that hit me up in my DM on Twitter, and he's about to start a channel just expressing some of his Giants thoughts and stuff like that. He asked me for some advice just moving forward with podcasting and whatnot. So salute to you, man. Appreciate you pulling up.
Big salute. And big shout out to Matthew, who's joining us. Says, "Let's go." Big shout out.
Let's go. freaking go, man. Let's
Jones
freaking go.
in the building. What's going on, brother? It's great
What's up,
to see BB Jones in here. I know he's as hyped for this Dallas-Washington game as I am. Appreciate you stopping by. Daniel Kim is in the building.
Oh, what up, Daniel?
Maria, great to see you as always.
Hey, Maria,
Thank
how's it
you
going?
for
How's it
joining
going?
us. We appreciate it. How did that T-shirt work for the Eagles? Listen, this is an this is an old school T-shirt. This ain't new. You know what I'm saying? This is, it's. I always hear people talk about Washington and Dallas ain't a rivalry anymore. Listen, no matter the records, Washington and Dallas will always be a rival game.
Oh, most definitely.
That's just how it is.
Louis T was saying that yesterday. He was like, it don't matter what the records are at any given point in the NFC East, man. We're like family. You never know. Anybody could get it on any given Sunday.
Very, very true. And big shout out to the homie Anthony Bluegrass Picker, always holding us down. We appreciate it. Renee's in the building. Ref the District is in the building. Make sure y'all go check out Ref the Districts. Appreciate y'all stopping
Big facts.
by.
Appreciate them retweets earlier, too, about the show, fam.
For sure. And Lucas says, remember the day ones if you get $30 million a year. Don't worry. if we got $1
get
million
30 mil, we are going to give back a good 500,000.
And that was one of the best parts about it when you watched the announcement today. Like they did the whole video where they announced it.
Yeah.
Dude, he gave away so much money. Just so many people. Like the Children's Hospital at West Virginia University, which is like one of the first places he went and like got involved in the community, was in college. The Children's Hospital in Indianapolis. I mean, he gave back to his high school, all the sports programs in his high school. So many he gave back to Robert Mathis's foundation. I mean, like it was like you watch it. It's like a 15-minute video. It literally will make you tear up. It was crazy. So
yeah. I started watching it. I didn't get a chance to finish it. I saw it was 19 minutes though.
Yeah, we'll definitely remember you, Lucas. Don't forget that.
Oh, yeah, you know that.
So, yeah, big shout-out to everybody in the chat. There goes no Nets, no Jets in the building.
Hey.
Block 30 is in the building. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Ronald Patterson says, been following y'all for a minute on YouTube and Twitter. Let's go, Big Blue. Even with Jake from State Farm. That's a tongue twister. We appreciate that,
salute to Ronald Patterson
sure.
in the building, man. Thanks for pulling up.
And let's see. Big shout out for the $4.99 super chat. Says, love the content and consistency from y'all. It's inspiring, and thanks for responding on Twitter. And it's pronounced E-N-A. We got time.
E-N-A, we got time. I wonder what that's
E-N-A,
for.
we got time. I know. I will never forget now. That's for sure. Appreciate the support, my man. Means a lot. Definitely. Big shout out to Nick the Wick for the $4.99 super chat. Says, what's up? Just got an MRI on my shoulder and car broke down 45 minutes away. Glad I got to tune into the show. Hope everything is all right, Nick the Wick. We need you out there on the field holding it down for sure.
Definitely, man. Hope that shoulder looking all right, brother.
Yep. All right. It's game time.
It's definitely game time. We got one more, too. Oh, you did get that one. You did get that one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. So we're going to start with the 1 o'clock game, which is the Cowboys at Washington football team. You ready for this, man?
Yes, sir.
I know BB Jones is ready for this one. I know BB Jones is ready for this one, man. Shout out all the Washington football team fans and the Cowboy fans in the building one time. So it wasn't the prettiest game on offense for the Dallas Cowboys last week in their win over the New Orleans Saints, but the defense stood tall, which is a good sign moving forward. This week, they will be facing off against their bitter rival, the Washington football team, who's the hottest team possibly in the NFC right now. I didn't say NFC East. I said NFC right now. The Washington football team, who had lost 4 straight games and fell to 2-6 before their bye, have now won 4 straight games in a row, placing them at 6-6 and in second place in the NFC East. This week for the Cowboys marks the make-or-break stretch of games with them going up against the Washington football team twice in a 3-week period. They will need to win these games to keep their lead in the division, with Washington only 2 games back. Today at the podium, Mike McCarthy said, "We are going to win this game. I am confident in that." And he did his best Joe Namath impersonation. The Beard, do you have a roadmap that can defeat the confidence of Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys?
Listen, I definitely have a roadmap. First of all, I'm so glad he said that. because 9 out of 10 times that backfires. That's why if you guys, who watch the show or follow me on social media, not once during this winning streak have I said we want Dallas. Not once. I know there's a lot of people out there chanting we want Dallas and bring on the Cowboys and we're coming for the division. Listen, I'm a one game at a time. I'm gonna do my best. Bill Belichick. We're on to Cincinnati. Like that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, the Dallas Cowboys are a very, very dangerous team.
Yeah.
That's just the facts. And it's not like we're getting Dallas without CeeDee Lamb and without Amari Cooper. We're getting Dallas not only with CeeDee Lamb, Dallas Cooper, Dalton Schultz. Randy Gregory is coming back after missing the last couple of weeks. DeMarcus Ware made his debut last week. Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, and they're getting what's his name back too? I already forgot his name. Neville. Another defensive stud player they're getting back. So, I mean, like this is full strength Dallas, pretty much. Although the news did break earlier today that Tony Pollard tore his plantar
fasciitis.
There we go. Plantar fasciitis.
I tried to remember how to enunciate that. I think we got that right. I think we got that right.
Big shout out to Renee Guzman. If Washington wins, the East is wide open, even Philly in there. Let's go. I mean, yeah, it's going to – listen, it's kind of like last year. Obviously, it's a little bit not like as bad, like record-wise for everybody. But, I mean, the NFL knew what they were doing. It's unfortunate for us, like schedule-wise. But the NFL knew what they were doing. They were trying to build up the end of this season, and they were just crossing their fingers that somebody was going to be in the mix. You know what I'm saying?
Be close
at least
somewhere
two
along
teams.
The lines.
And so it's crazy because we're getting Dallas. Not only are we getting Dallas full strength, we're getting Dallas off of a 10-day rest, basically like those mini buys because they played last Thursday, and then next week we play Philly, who has their bye this week. So it's like
they did y'all super dirty.
But it's okay. J.D. McKissick practiced today. Landon Collins,
that's a bonus.
Practiced today.
That's a big bonus.
We were hoping to have Montez Sweat back, but unfortunately he
COVID situation now.
Got the Rona. So hopefully, thoughts out to Montez. Hopefully he can it doesn't hit him too hard and he can come back stronger after the absence. But yeah, I was really looking forward to having him back in this game. Unfortunately, he will be out. But J.D. McKissick and Landon Collins are the two big ones. And I still don't really know what the situation is with Logan Thomas's knee. Like, I mean, I know it's
they said
not,
it wasn't a torn ACL, but
so
I don't think he's going to be in this game. They were talking about Ricky Seals-Jones.
Play. And Ricky Seals-Jones, remember, is coming off of the hip injury. But he was out there today, practice.
He practiced,
So, obviously, you never know how that's going to turn out by the end, when we get to Sunday. But they all did practice today. So, that's where we are on the injury front as far as Washington and Dallas, which is going to be important because, Pollard and McKissick are two huge factors in this game. If the Cowboys don't have Pollard, that's a huge blow to them offensively.
Pollard has their biggest plays of the season, the 100-yard kickoff return and then the 50-plus yard run that he had last week. Those are the two longest plays that the Cowboys have had from scrimmage this whole year.
Yeah, and then us having McKissick is just a huge boost to our offense, especially on third downs, And I will say Washington managed to, do certain things without McKissick last week, but if you have McKissick, it just makes things a lot easier.
Y'all had who's the ex-Philadelphia Eagles running back?
Wendell Smallwood.
Smallwood, that's right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which I was surprised. I mean, I figured Patterson would step in and get more touches, but I mean, Smallwood did have. I think he had like 3 catches or 3 touches. He had a couple of big plays. So this is a next man up team right now at this point. Obviously, we've had some devastating blows on injury, but that's the National Football League. Everybody's going to deal with injuries. Everybody's going to deal with COVID. Like It's crazy. I was thinking about your tweet about
I was just
when you
about to bring that up.
when you go through the injured running backs just alone.
Right. I forget
It's
who it was. They
insane.
were like, yeah, especially when you're dealing with the injury-prone running back in New York. And I said, well, you could look across the league, and just about every starter has been hurt this year. I don't think Jonathan Taylor had been hurt. Um, and there's a couple more, but like every team has a running back that has been out of the lineup. In the NFC East, we already know Zeke Elliott was dealing with the injury. You got Pollard dealing with an injury right now. Miles Sanders dealing with the ankle all year long. Antonio Gibson's been dealing with the shin. I mean, Derrick Henry dealing with his foot injury out for the year. I mean, Chris Carson. You could literally go to every team, and every running
Literally.
back has been hurt.
And that's another term that we're adding to the list of garbage time, generational talent, franchise
Yeah, yeah,
quarterback,
franchise
lockdown
quarterback.
corner. We're throwing injury prone on that list too, because it's just a stupid thing.
Yeah, injury
Prone.
prone. It's like, yo, they're playing the fastest, strongest game known to man. People are definitely going to get hurt.
So, I'm just trying to think about how we can attack this team because the Cowboys aren't the Panthers. They're not the Raiders. Even though they lost to the Raiders, uh,
Right.
they're they're not some of these teams that we've beaten. I guess the closest thing that you can say the team that we've beaten is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So like that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable going into this game, knowing that we have already beaten the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Tampa
Yeah.
Bay Buccaneers beat the Cowboys. We beat the Raiders, and the Raiders beat the Cowboys. So it's like we're kind of we have some angles to attack here.
Yeah. But like you
Trayvon
did talk about
Diggs.
with the Raiders, and now the Cowboys getting back to full strength, really that the Raiders game was the game where they weren't at full strength.
Yeah, and what's crazy is when you look at the games that Dallas has lost this year, there is a pattern and there's a common denominator in those games that they lost, except for that Vegas game. Because
Yeah.
the Vegas game, it wasn't like they couldn't, move the ball or they couldn't score points like the Chiefs game, like the Broncos game. I mean, that
Yeah.
game they both teams were in the 30s. So
Yeah,
it's
and
like
I want to say that's the game where Dak Prescott didn't get clicking until like late in the third quarter, the beginning of the fourth
third,
quarter.
fourth
They didn't
quarter,
have,
yeah.
yeah, they didn't have a touchdown, I believe. I think they scored like 20 points maybe or something like that in that fourth quarter. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember them putting up a ton of points. And it was the game also where he had both wide receivers out, if I'm correct.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, with Cooper and CeeDee Lamb were both out of that game, and you had a banged up Zeke Elliott with the knee injury.
And definitely, Kevin, like this is something that is key in that sort of situation.
Yeah.
Because when you're going against teams that are better than you, and let's be perfectly honest, as good as Washington is, you can beat a team and a team still be better than you. But
Yeah.
let's be 100% 100 here. The Cowboys are a better team than the Washington football team.
Yeah,
Like
I'll give you
they're
that.
that's just how it is, and but that doesn't mean that you can't beat a team that's better than you, because that's where the coaching comes in, that's where the game plan comes in, and that is a huge thing. You're gonna have to force turnovers and do it early. If not necessarily turnovers, you're gonna want to be able to, force 3-and-outs. Force them
Yeah.
to punt the ball.
Yeah.
That might
Some
not
big
necessarily
plays in
be
their
as
own territory and win the
exactly.
field position battles and things like that. Time of possession is going to be really important in this game too.
It really is, and that's definitely on the roadmap. Now, one of the things that I'm looking at though is we're gonna have to get Trayvon Diggs. Okay, we're gonna have to catch him slipping because Trayvon Diggs likes to be aggressive. Okay,
Yeah.
now we know Taylor Heineke is not the best deep ball thrower, but at some point we're gonna have to mix in some double moves because that's how you're gonna be able to catch Trayvon Diggs slipping. You're gonna have to catch him on a double move because he's so aggressive. So you're gonna
Yeah.
want to work that intermediate stuff heavy, and then as soon as you see him creeping up a little bit more, you're gonna have to call that double move, and Heineke's gonna have to convert on it. Because you're probably only gonna get, let's say, 3 max opportunities at plays like that in this game. So you're going to have to hit when you get the opportunity to make the play. You're going to have to make the play. So that's something I'm going to keep my eye on in this game is a double moves attacking Trayvon Diggs. Now, the turnover battle, which we just briefly talked about, is going to be Very important. Now, Washington has 17 turnovers on the year. Dallas has 16 turnovers on the year. The big difference is the takeaways. Dallas has almost double the amount of takeaways that Washington does. Washington only has 12 takeaways on the entire season. Dallas has 23.
Yeah,
so,
19 interceptions. They're tied for the lead in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and offensive line is going to have to be clutch. Taylor Heineke is going to have to know when it's time to get – they're going to have to come up with a game plan where it's going to be quick passes, and he's going to have to get out of dodge. You're going to see Taylor Heineke, do some Taylor Heineke things because they're coming for him. Micah Parsons, Randall Gregory. Oh, here we go. Do I have to read this? Big shout out to one of our day ones and a Dallas Cowboy fan and a Dallas Cowboy fan and supporter of our channel. So and a good friend, obviously. So the $4.99 super chat says, "I need the sound clip. The Cowboys are the better team than the Washington football team."
Yep, we got you on. We're gonna holler at the editing department, make sure they get that one clipped up for you, Mo. You already know.
Listen, you know what I'm doing here. Like I am, I'm setting a foundation for me having to fall back on just in case we go out there and get our
little safety net.
Little safety net. Big shout out to Zion Zenith for the $5 super chat. Says, "What's good, fam? Giants for life. Even though it's a landfill right now. Laugh out loud. 100. y'all killing it. Appreciate that, Zion.
Definitely appreciate that, fam. Zion is a content creator for the New York Giants too, man. So if y'all can find his channel or somebody maybe put that in the chat, man, go sub up to Zion, man.
Facts. All right. So without further ado,
in the building. I see Miz in the building. I see a couple others in the building too. E Suds is in the building. Who else in the building? I saw a couple just pull up. My man Matthew's in the building too, man.
Yes, Monique, I am doing what you do before every game. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I mean, that's life. You know, like, listen, if there's anybody that knows, I live my life by Murphy's Law. For those of you that don't know what Murphy's Law is what can go wrong will go wrong.
It's a saying for the Dallas Cowboys, to be honest, man. Stephen A. Smith has made that popular. About what can go wrong will go wrong. So we've definitely seen that. But here's the thing about life, the Beard. There's no safety net here in life. When you fall, you got to pick yourself back up off that ground, bro.
I'm just trying to make the ground a little softer for the fall. That's all.
I feel you.
Bounce up like round ball, as Mr. Hove would say.
Sean Carter himself, yeah.
All right, BB Jones, I hope you're still here, buddy, because it is time for the Beard, a.k.a. Dora the Explorer, map to victory. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. I mean, I got like dots and X's and everything on this piece of paper, just so you guys know the map is real. All right, so Washington football team must run the ball 40 to 45 times in this game. Okay, so
40 to 45 now. We're normally 35 to 40.
Yeah, we're up in the bar a little bit.
I like
because listen, I'll take the 35, but I'd rather be if we're not gonna get to 40, give me like 38, 37.
I got you. Okay.
All right. So I said 40 to 45, but Awthentik is making me rethink this. We're gonna say 35 to 45. Okay, so I guess listen. If I could say 35 to 40 and we go higher than 40, that counts as 40, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll say 35 to 40 rushing attempts.
You sounding like Pops from Friday right now. 35, 45 minutes. Don't nobody go in there for about 30, 45 minutes.
Dallas. Well, listen. Miz, we've actually on our winning streak since I started these roadmaps, we have ran the ball at least 40 times in every single game except for one. So they say Miz said Washington ain't New England. I understand that.
It might be though.
but we have ran the ball at least 40 times in every game except for one on this winning streak. So it's definitely possible, and a lot of that is why we've been so dominant with the time of possession. Now, Dallas does allow 4.5 yards per carry, which is pretty bad. I want to say that that's down in the bottom as far as statistics go for yards per carry. Now, if we can get 4.5 yards per carry, what that does is it allows you a shorter third and distance, because you do not want to be in these 3rd and 7s, because that's
third and 7 kind of, you speaking to a New York Giants fan here. 3rd and 7 is like more manageable than any 3rd down situation we're ever in. We're in 3rd and 20, 3rd and 14. It's a regular occurrence here with the New York Giants.
I forget what game I was watching. I think it was either the Ravens and the Steelers game, or the Ravens and the Browns game, or one of those games where every time I looked up, it was like 3rd and 22, and I was just like, yeah. That is not good. But you don't want to be in 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 12s. You want to be in, these more manageable 3rd and 3s.
Yeah.
3rd and 4 is a good one too. Right around that range.
Yeah.
Now, Heineke and the O-line can only allow 0 to 2 sacks. Okay, this is a tough one. So and you see how I said Heineke and the O-line.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the O-line that is responsible for sacks. A lot of times the quarterback gets sacks and everybody wants to blame the offensive line. A lot of times the quarterback is responsible for taking the sack. You got to know when to pull it down and go if you're in Heineke's case, or throw the ball away. We know
Heineke likes to escape pressure a lot. So are you looking for maybe some more throwaways this game? Maybe some quicker decisions, or you just thinking like be aware and make sure if you're going to escape the pocket, make sure you escape?
Exactly, just to be decisive.
Yeah.
Because, and I think you have to answer yes to both of that, because Micah Parsons is a quick guy. I've seen him chase down, some high caliber quarterbacks. So
let me give you a quick Micah Parsons nugget before we continue with the roadmap here. With 1 sack, and you said you guys got to get 2 or under. Micah Parsons can become the first rookie to have a sack in 6 consecutive games since Javon Kearse did it 10 games in a row for Tennessee in 1999. And we also know Javon Kearse has the rookie record for sacks. And right now, let me see, it was 14 and a half.
Parsons has 10, right?
Parsons has 10. He leads all rookies in the NFL right now, and it's a club record for a first-year player for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, he's a problem. And look, he's not even the one I fear the most.
Randy Gregory.
Man,
I saw somebody was talking about Randy Gregory, and they're like, oh, he's not that, he's not this or that. And I was like, man, you tripping right now, dog. Randy Gregory.
It's so easy to go with the name everybody talking about.
Right.
But when you watch the games, the way that Randy Gregory plays football, it reminds me of old school football.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like just
ferocious
tenacity.
Yeah, tenacity.
It's something that you got to keep your eye on. So
for sure,
0 to 2 sacks allowed by Heineke and the offensive line. Now, you could say to win the time of possession, right? That's a given.
Yeah.
We need to dominate the time of possession. Double. I want to see double the time of possession. Double.
It's asking for a lot, man.
It's asking for a lot. Now, listen, you don't have to double. You can dominate and not double. Win is a necessity. You can't win this game if you don't win the time of possession. So that's
hey,
where
yo,
we're
Lucas. Look at Lucas.
I mean, that's how it goes, Lucas, man, Wins solve everything.
Everything. And Miz says this: you ain't chipping Parsons, bro. That's facts, man.
No, listen. This is a sane Washington football team fan here, okay, guys? I mean, maybe not a sane. I'm crazy, but I'm not a crazy fan, okay? So listen, dominate the time of possession. Next on the roadmap is eliminate CeeDee Lamb. They're going to have everybody, okay? You know how in basketball it's like, look, I'll let Draymond Green drop 25 as long as, Steph Curry doesn't drop 50.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, CeeDee Lamb is the most important factor in the passing game for the Dallas Cowboys. If you look at the games in which Dallas has lost, obviously there's one game in there where, he didn't play, so obviously he wasn't. But every other game, he's never been the leading receiver in a game that Dallas has lost. So it's like
CeeDee Lamb has never been the leading receiver for the Cowboys in any one of their losses in these first 2 years. Okay, got you.
So you gotta eliminate CeeDee Lamb. It's not going to be easy, but when I say eliminate CeeDee Lamb, this is what I mean. You got to keep him under 7 catches and under 70 yards.
Ooh, under 70 yards. I like that. Now look, I got another nugget for your boys, TD Lamb, as I like to call him here.
Yes, sir.
With 100 scrimmage yards, wide receiver TD Lamb can join Pro Football Hall of Famer Bob Hayes as the only Dallas receivers with 8 games of at least 100 in their first 2 seasons.
He's that good.
Boy good.
He's that, and he's on our fantasy team.
He sure is. I had him on the bench on my other team. I was tripping last week. I don't know what I was doing, but I definitely put him back in the lineup for this week.
Next on the roadmap is you have to win the third down battle defensively. Okay? That's important. Now, Dallas is middle of the road on third down conversion rates. I want to say they're 16th or 17th in the league in third down conversion rate. They're sitting around 40% on third down conversions. So that's definitely something that's possible. But, obviously, time of possession is and third down conversion defense are hand in hand. So, if you can stop them on third downs, you get the ball back.
Was that the Cowboys that was like 2 of 12 last week on third down?
Yeah, they were bad last week on third downs, even though they won the game. And then I saw Monique say, well, the Saints also won the time of possession last week. Yeah, the Saints should have won that game. I don't know how many times I got to tell everybody this, but they turned the ball over 4 times.
4 interceptions.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough.
I mean, geez. So,
was it 3 of them in the fourth quarter, too? In the last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, 3 of the interceptions
At least
occurred.
2 of them. At least 2 of them. And then Washington has to score at least 21 points. Dak Prescott has to be held under 300 yards. And as a total, hold Dallas under 80 yards rushing.
Ooh, 80. And you guys right now are the third best rush defense in the NFL right now, allowing 90.1 yards per game. So it's possible.
It's possible. And that's the roadmap, ladies and gentlemen. That is the roadmap. So 35 to 40 rushes for Washington. 0 to 2 sacks allowed for Washington.
Yeah.
Try to double time of possession. Hold CeeDee Lamb under 7 catches and 70 yards. Win the third down battle defensively. Score at least 21 points. Dak Prescott under 300, and the Dallas Cowboys as a team under 80 yards rushing.
I like this. A lot of your roadmap deals with defensive strategies, I feel like, and how you're going to try to contain and stop Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Defensively, I've been liking how Cole Holcomb has been playing. Last week, he led y'all with 10 tackles, and he had a career-best 2 passes defensed in that Raiders game.
Big one, too.
I think you're going to have to be able to get to the quarterback, too. That's another thing. And, we know Chase Young has been knocked out for the season, but the cat who stepped in for him, James Smith-Williams, I believe, is that the guy that
law firm, remember?
James Smith and Williams. What's the law firm from Cool Runnings that you're in love with?
Webster
and Cohen.
Cohen, yes.
Yeah.
Gotta get those
kind
shirts
of
made.
got a ring like that, and you're right. You do got to get a shirt made for that. Now, last week against the Raiders in the first half, you remember we talked about the first half being pretty slow. There was the opening drive touchdown by Washington, or it was an early drive that you guys scored with Logan Thomas. The Raiders got the ball back, and then you guys had 6 punts back-to-back between you and the Raiders both. And then they got the 3 points right before the half to make it 7-3 at the half. Now, that's the fewest points that the Washington football team has surrendered to an opponent at the half since playing Dallas last year in Week 7, where y'all held them to 3 points too. So I do think this is possible. Granted, Dak Prescott wasn't at quarterback in that game. I think tight end Ricky Seals-Jones is definitely going to have to step up with Logan Thomas out in this game. And I forget who the other backup is. Y'all got to what's the homie y'all got? Reyes.
John Bates.
There's one more. John Bates. I also think he's going to have to step up in this game, too. You didn't mention anything about Terry McLaurin, and I think that Terry, he turns up for Texas for damn sure. Right now, in his 3 career games against the Dallas Cowboys, he's got 19 catches for 244 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. I'd look for that to continue because Terry McLaurin seems like the kind of guy that thrives on the big stage, and this is pretty much the game of the week, if you ask me. 4 o'clock game here between Washington and Dallas.
1 o'clock.
Oh, 1 o'clock game. I'm sorry. The Giants are at 4 o'clock. But this, for me, this the game of the week. And I talked about y'all run defense, allowing 91.3 rushing yards. I think that's going to be a key thing here. Now, Heineke, the quarterback play is another thing I wanted to touch on here between Dak Prescott and Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke right now is playing during this winning streak of 4 games, has been playing lights out football. Has completed 77.3% of his passes for 881 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Now, that's over the past 4 games. During that 4-game skid that y'all had before that, because y'all had 4 straight losses, then 4 straight wins. And during the 4 straight losses, he had a completion percentage of 59.6, 3 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And I think that's when people were saying, I don't think Taylor Heineke can be the franchise guy, or he's more of a backup quarterback in this league. But now when you look at the last 4, it's very impressive what Washington football team has been doing in these last 4 games with the 4-game winning streak. Now, on the opposite end of this, when we look at Dak Prescott, okay, he had the calf strain. We know about the calf strain, and I don't want to make up an excuse for him for why his play has diminished. But in the 6 games before the calf strain, Prescott was 4th in the NFL. He had a passer rating of 115 in the past 4 weeks, and he didn't play against the Minnesota Vikings. You got to remove that game. But Prescott is 15th in passer rating in those last 4 weeks that he's played at 89.6. So there's been a significant drop-off. A little bit of that has to do with CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper dealing with injuries and COVID and all the things that Dallas Cowboys have been dealing with. We know last week Mike McCarthy wasn't even on the sidelines. I think it's kind of gutsy for him to come out in his first game back after not coaching and guarantee this win. But I think that they have the talent to do this over there with the Dallas Cowboys. Washington right now, as well as they are playing, their offensive ranking in points per game right now is still 20th, and they're on this 4-game winning streak. Their passing offense is 20th as well, but their rush offense is where things have stepped up. They're 9th in the league in rush offense right now, and they've corrected some of their third down issues in this 4-game winning streak. Washington was ranked 27th. They were converting 34.7% in the first 8 games on third down. And now they've been converting on 50% of their third down opportunities in the past 4 games during that 4-game winning streak. So I don't know if we're going to see more good from the Washington football team, or if we're going to see maybe a little bit of bad from the Washington football team.
Because the scary part.
It is. You've been on this winning streak for so long. They're riding high. They're playing off confidence. I think the Dallas Cowboys are in the same position. Talked about this on Tuesday about how the Dallas Cowboys have been going through so much turmoil right now, and they're finding ways to win some of these games. And, they lost that game to the Raiders, but they're finding ways to battle. And I think these are the kind of games, and this is the time of the season where you're really going to test people, and you're going to see what kind of team the Dallas Cowboys are made of and what kind of team the Washington football team is made of as well. Shout out to the kicker that y'all signed last week, Brian Johnson, with that 48-yard field goal to win the game. He's riding high of confidence. That's his first career go-ahead field goal in the final minutes of a game ever. I don't know how long he's been in the league, but that's definitely a great thing for him and the Washington football team moving forward. And I think with your roadmap, the last thing that I think that's going to have to come to fruition for Washington is there's going to have to be a second guy in the receiving game that's going to have to step up. If Trayvon Diggs and this Dallas Cowboys defense can find a way to contain Terry McLaurin, then somebody like DeAndre Carter is going to have to step up and have a sneaky good game against the Dallas Cowboys. And I think, with his role in special teams, returning punts, and also when Logan Thomas is not on the field, he seems to be the main number 2 target. I think he's somebody we got to keep our eyes on. Yeah, and definitely on third downs, man. And I think there's a lot of pressure on him in this game, too, to step up. I don't know what happened with Cam Sims. He had that one game where he stepped up, and then you really haven't heard much about him after that. So I'm looking for DeAndre Carter to step up. And what was the rookie kid y'all drafted, a wide receiver, too? Dyami Brown?
Dyami Brown, yeah.
Dyami Brown,
catch last week.
So he's kind of been slow.
Been much of a factor. Now, listen, I saw somebody, Curtis Samuel too, Kevin was talking about. Like, I still don't know how much he's going to play, which is why it's hard for me to kind of include him in the game plan. But if Curtis Samuel can come out there and give you some productive plays, maybe 5-10 productive plays, I mean, that's huge, obviously.
Yeah.
But what just reminded me after watching him also say Humphreys, the one thing that Dallas Cowboys struggle against, shifty players.
Yeah.
They struggle against shifty
and
players.
Tight ends too.
Humphreys, Samuel, McKissick. I mean, there's going to have to – I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Taylor Heineke's not shifty, but
Taylor Heineke is shifty. He's shifty.
He can shift. You know what I'm saying?
To me, Taylor Heineke is top 5 right now. Pocket movement, pocket presence. The boy can move. It's no doubt about it. His escapability is one of the best in the league to me. Reminds me of a young Russell Wilson as far as his escapability. Not the arm talent, not everything else, but just the escapability.
It's going to be interesting. I listen.
You can't forget no Dak Prescott last year.
No
man.
Dak Prescott.
When you take away Dak Prescott, that not only does that make the quarterback position worse, but it makes Ezekiel Elliott a little bit of a lackluster running back without Dak Prescott.
BB Jones, did you miss the map? Gonna have to hit that great YouTube feature rewind button.
Yeah, if you missed the map, though, definitely hit that rewind button one time. You already know what it is. And the other thing you didn't mention too much too is Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson is the run game. He is the guy.
For sure. And we know he's had an up and down season, dealing with the shin injury. But in the last 2 games, 52 carries in 2 games, which is amazing. I love that stat right there.
And that has happened
yards.
Since the fumble when he got benched in the Carolina game. And then he came back.
Because he fumbled twice, right? Is the Carolina game the last time that he fumbled?
Yep, and then that's
that
when
one wasn't
benched
too
him
bad.
for a while.
It was a first quarter fumble, and he sat for that series, came back, and he was the reason why y'all won that game eventually.
Yep.
I mean,
and he is now 5th in the National Football League in rushing yards and 1st in the NFC in rushing yards. There's nobody has more rushing yards in the NFC than Antonio Gibson right now.
That's crazy. Yeah, because he's been having a good stretch here during his 4 games, but it doesn't seem like he's playing lights out football where you would think he's that high up in the league as far as rushing yards. But that's great. That's fantastic, man. So I mean, I think Washington has a chance in this game, but I'm not going to go out on a limb and pick them here. And I haven't picked you guys for 2 straight weeks. I think. The 4-game winning streak was against Carolina,
Tampa Bay,
Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, and last week
Raiders.
was against the Raiders. I mean, all of those games are games that you could have lost, and that is fantastic for Washington to come out of that 4-0, especially when the Seahawks were clawing for a win. They really needed a win with Russell Wilson coming back, and I believe that was his 2nd or 3rd game back in the lineup. And, for you guys to come away with a victory in that game, back-to-back wins, 17-15, it's impressive. I mean, kudos, man. Washington football team is balling out. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was telling you about how y'all was right there in the bottom of the basement with us, and now y'all right there sitting in 2nd, 2 games back from the Cowboys. But I think that if you guys can beat the Cowboys in this game, it's going to be very impressive. It's going to put the whole NFL on notice about the Washington football team. I think y'all are a team that if you can sneak your way into playoffs, nobody's going to want to play y'all because Washington can just about beat any team in the league right now, especially when they showed that beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I just think that the Cowboys are, have a little bit too much firepower on offense for y'all. And I think that it's going to be hard for Taylor Heineke to not turn the ball over in this game. With the amount of interceptions that Trayvon Diggs has had on the season, with the pressure that's going to be coming from Randy Gregory and Micah Parsons, it's going to be a really tough game. You guys are going to have to play a flawless game, I feel. I'm going to go with the Cowboys in this one. I think the Cowboys are going to win this one in a high-scoring affair. I'm going to go 31-24 Dallas Cowboys.
24-17 Washington football team.
Doesn't surprise me.
What doesn't surprise you?
That pick, 4-game winning streak, man. If my Giants beat the Bucs, the Seahawks, the Panthers, and the Raiders in a row, put us up against anybody. I don't care. I'm picking us. So I get it. You got to keep that winning streak going. And you got to live in it and bask in it while it lasts for sure, too. This is the last time you can probably be riding high on confidence like this, unless y'all go out here and get that W against them Dallas Cowboys. It is a home game, so that's important for Washington.
I had this one circled as a victory on the schedule from preseason.
Yeah, that's a good one. And no Mets, no Nets, no Jets says Washington football team is scrappy. That's facts. And Stephen White says the Washington Plumbers lose bad.
We are 2-0 when the pipes burst at FedEx. Just so everybody knows.
That's wild, man. So anything else for this Washington football team game before we move forward to the New York Giants?
Beat Dallas. Let's go.
Beat Dallas. You see the theme on the shirt. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break real quick. Come back, talk about these New York Giants, and we'll get y'all out of here before the Thursday night football game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Vikings.
Your wide receiver on IR? Aw, shucks. Your running back keep fumbling every week? Man, damn it all. Well, come chop it up with your boys. We are waiver wired tight. Awthentik and The Beard. Every Sunday morning, streaming live at 11 a.m.
Y'all know what it is, man. Check us out Sunday mornings, The Parlay, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man, my picks was on fire last week. I cannot wait to get to the Parlay Sunday morning. I'm going to have to crunch some numbers and crunch some notes over the weekend here before we go live on Sunday morning. But make sure to pull up, man. Me and The Beard are making a serious playoff run here in that duo fantasy league.
This is the last week of the regular season for season-long fantasy. So
I'm glad you was on top of the Chase Edmonds vibes because we needed a running back with Jonathan Taylor on a bye. I'm glad you was on top of that. I woke up and thought about it myself. You had already handled it. Kudos to you, man, because we're going to need a lot of that. We're going to need Coach Beard and Coach Awthentik to be on a best game finishing out this season, because that bonus, if we could win that league, would be amazing for the channel. I will definitely say that. And we did that draft live on one of our shows, so it'll be cool to go back to that if we win that fantasy league, man. But make sure y'all pull up on Sunday morning. You got any fantasy questions, man, any lineup questions, any betting questions, odds, over-unders, whatever it is, man, pull up. We'll chop it up, man, and get you headed in the right direction. All righty, man. So let's look at that. Look at that powder, man. That powder looks good right there. I like that. I got to send an email to the graphics department and tell them how fantastic job they've been doing lately. But we got a lot to talk about within this game. The 7-5 Los Angeles Chargers are set to take on the 4-8 New York Giants this week in a game where the New York Giants are in panic mode at the quarterback position. Dealing with a serious neck injury, Daniel Jones will likely be out again, and backup Mike Glennon, who got the start last week in Miami, is still in the protocol dealing with a concussion. It's looking more as if newly acquired fifth-round draft pick Jake Fromm will be at the helm on Sunday for the New York Giants. The Chargers have been up and down on defense this entire season and have lost some close games that were there for the taking. With Justin Herbert playing MVP caliber football at only the age of 23 years old, on paper, this looks like a game that the Chargers should easily win and help them potentially move into first place of the AFC West. On the other hand, the New York Giants are in Hail Mary-like formation trying to desperately keep their season alive. Some false reports came out today about Daniel Jones' neck injury initially happening versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers instead of that play that I called against the Philadelphia Eagles. But I think that's a little bit of smoke and mirrors. They said that the New York Post had a typo and accidentally put the Buccaneers instead of the Eagles, but I'm not falling for it. Prompted me to tweet out something today on my Twitter that just completely just went ape. I mean, this thing made its way around the internet, and it let me know, and it reassured me again that there are some silly human beings across the internet on Twitter. I will definitely say that, man. I got some crazy responses. One of them was like, "You're a Washington football team fan. Stay out of our business and beat it." I said, who's a Washington football team fan? And I said, you don't want to make too many assumptions. And I put the ASS very capital, and I used the GIF of
saved that
crack.
one for when we were on air, because you didn't tell me about that one.
I didn't tell you about that one. I wanted to get the natural Beard reaction on that one. I got the craziest responses, man. People, it's like, why are you just responding to random people just making assumptions that what team they root for and all that? And you're going to come to my tweet in my thread and tell me, beat it. Come on, bro. That's crazy. I had to block a couple people today that I knew I wasn't even going to see again, but I had to block a couple people again. But, the tweet that I said was that the Giants did Daniel Jones dirty. And, yeah, it was prompted by the reports this morning. But as much as they've been running Daniel Jones this year, that to me is just a recipe to get the kid hurt. And I wanted to look at the numbers between Freddie Kitchens and Jason Garrett to see the differences in how much they were running him, per coach and whatnot. And it was Jason Garrett was running Daniel Jones 5.5 attempts a game, and Freddie Kitchens at 5.3 a game. The maximum number of attempts that Daniel Jones had with Freddie Kitchens was 9, and the maximum attempts that he had with Jason Garrett was 9 as well. So this is a philosophy thing. We can't forget Freddie Kitchens is calling the same kind of playbook, I'll say at least, that Jason Garrett was calling here. And Jason Garrett, if you include the Washington game, and I think week 3 was against the Atlanta Falcons, Daniel Jones ran the ball 17 times in 2 games, which is just way too much. I've been talking about that all year long, and that's just a way to get the quarterback hurt because Daniel Jones is not a true mobile quarterback. He's got a little bit of speed, but I've already hammered that nail enough to let people know that, yeah, Daniel Jones is not your typical mobile quarterback, like a guy like a Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts or even a Russell Wilson, because to be a mobile quarterback at this high caliber in the NFL, you have to have extreme awareness. And if Daniel Jones was a creative player in Madden, by me, I would put the awareness probably somewhere around a good 78 maybe out of 100, something like that. But the New York Giants definitely failed, Daniel Jones in other ways than just this injury. They failed to build a proper offensive line around him that had studs up front and some hog mollies. You can go back to season 1 of Awthentik and The Beard if you need to know the definition of a hog molly. It's on the first episode. And also having depth on the offensive line so that when some of these guys went down, like Nick Gates, Shane Lemieux, Andrew Thomas was dealing with an injury earlier on in this year as well. You didn't have the right guys to be able to come and fill in. And it reminds me of the Cincinnati Bengals, who had Calvin Anderson come in as a undrafted free agent, third stringer, came in and stepped up in multiple games for them at that left tackle position. And no one is talking about the offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals because they're doing a fantastic job. The Giants have also failed to bring the weapons around Daniel Jones until his 3rd season as a quarterback in the NFL. First 2 years, we know the story. They didn't draft any offensive talent outside of Darius Slayton. In 2018, we know about the running back draft pick at number 2 with Saquon Barkley. But outside of that, they waited until the 2021 draft to really bring some talent around this kid, the wide receiver department. Bringing in Kenny Galladay as a free agent that we paid $74 million, 4-year contract to. We drafted Kadarius Toney. We also brought in Kyle Rudolph for some help, John Ross for some help. We were hoping to get Sterling Shepard to be back healthy, who I think is one of the more solid reasons why this offensive passing game is not clicking as well. We also failed to bring in an offensive coordinator that lended more towards the skill set that Daniel Jones has, which is deep ball throwing. And I think that goes hand in hand with not bringing in the offensive line. And lastly, the one thing I wanted to talk about too is the backup running back situation to go along with what Saquon Barkley is dealing with. Not that many running backs would have a lot of room to run the ball with this offensive line, but it wouldn't hurt to have another solid running back on this roster, similar to what the Patriots are doing over there with Mac Jones and just surrounding him with all kinds of running back talent. It almost seems like having running back weapons is more important than the wide receiver weapons when you have a coach like Bill Belichick. Reports came out that Russell Wilson would break his trade clause for a few teams, and the New York Giants were one of those teams that was listed. And it was the Denver Broncos and it was the New Orleans Saints. And for me, I do think that the Denver Broncos, if they got the money for it, it makes the most sense to bring in a guy like Russell Wilson. But I was on Twitter and in a couple threads chopping it up with people. And I don't know if I'm 100% for bringing Russell Wilson in, but I told the Beard this off air too. One way that me and Louis T are kind of very alike is that we try to present angles. And if you don't know Louis T, he's a Washington football team content creator. He's a really good content creator. If you ever want some information on them, you can check him out. But me and him both kind of like, we will present an argument that we don't necessarily 100% agree with, but we feel like we have enough bulletins and enough facts to be able to present that argument and stand on it in a certain way. And I was chopping it up with a couple of homies on a Twitter thread, and there was a couple of reasonings from one homie that was talking about why we should bring in Russell Wilson that I thought were just fantastic. So I wanted to highlight these on the screen and talk about these for a little bit before we get into the Giants at Chargers game here. Now, he said like this. He said, we are 3 things away, talking about the New York Giants. And this is from Big Blue Coming F1 on Twitter. And this dude, very confident. I mean, he took no time to respond to some of these comments on Twitter. He said, we are 3 things away: quarterback, offensive line, and pass rush. And I love when he said this right here. He said, quarterback is the hardest to solve by a country mile. I thought that was a bar right there. He said, if you can solve it, you solve it, which just made me think about this more. If you have 3 things you need to solve, you just need to start checking these boxes. I think a lot of fans are just willing to, the Giant fans just keep saying we can't trade away draft stock. Russell Wilson is too old. The Seahawks are 4-8 as well. Nobody, the number one that I hear the most that I can't stand is no quarterback would win behind this offensive line. And that's just hypothetical. We know
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is a very decorated quarterback in this league. He really should have another Super Bowl ring if it wasn't for his bonehead coach not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch on the goal line. And we know how that went. The Patriots go on to win their other Super Bowl. But there are multiple ways to build a team. And for me, this quote, it just embodies all of that right there. You got to get the quarterback. It's the number one position. Now, for me, I've been talking about a lot how I love how the Rams built their team. The Rams with Sean McVay, you got the coach, you got the GM over there, you got a coach who's a part of bringing in the right players as well. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of these first-round draft picks that Sean McVay just dealt away. They traded their 2017 first-round draft pick to bring in Jared Goff, okay? In 2016, they traded that away. So they didn't have a 2017 first-round pick, and that was before Sean McVay got there. He realized, okay, we're invested in this quarterback. He's on a rookie deal. He's doing pretty decent on a bad team that was 4-12 entering that 2017 season when McVay became the first-year head coach for the Rams. In 2018, they traded away their first-round pick to the New England Patriots to acquire Brandon Cooks to bring in some more weaponry, which kind of reminds me of what the New York Giants tried to do here in the third year for Daniel Jones, bringing in Kenny Golladay out of free agency. 2019, they traded their first-round pick to move down and acquire a second and a third-round pick from Atlanta. So they just built more stock there. They traded away their 2020 and 2021 first-round draft picks and a fourth-rounder to bring in Jalen Ramsey. And then they traded away their 2022 and 2023 first-round draft picks along with Jared Goff to bring in Matthew Stafford to check these boxes that we're talking about, okay? Along the way, I believe they drafted Robert Woods. Cooper Kupp
they either signed him as a free agent or traded for him because Robert Woods was originally in Buffalo and was like
that's right, he was
in
with
that
Buffalo.
horrible regime and before things changed over in Buffalo.
I'm not sure if they traded for him because most of their big trades in this article I was reading,
they signed him
as
a free agent.
So maybe they signed him. And what about Cooper Kupp? Was he drafted by the Rams?
Cooper Kupp, I think, was drafted by the Rams, yeah.
And then you got the acquiring of Odell Beckham here, Von Miller, brought those guys in for not big dollar. And now you have a team, to me, they're not going to have a first-round draft pick until 2024, and they probably won't have that one the way Sean McVay has been going. He's probably going to deal that one too. But with the players that they have on their team, Matthew Stafford is in his early 30s, Odell Beckham 29, Von Miller's getting a little bit older there. You got Donald on the front over there. Their wide receiver core, they got guys like Van Jefferson, very youthful, Cooper Kupp, youthful. Robert Woods, when he comes back, he's not an old guy. This team has at least a 3-year window to try to win a Super Bowl. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's Super Bowl or bust now that you brought in Odell Beckham. But no, they have 3 years. Quarterbacks are proving now in this day and age that they can go longer because of the way that the rules are lending towards the quarterbacks. They're not taking the biggest hits like they used to when Troy Aikman and Steve Young and Montana and these guys were getting knocked out and you never saw them come back again. So for me, the Rams are a great way to build your team. And they have that 3-year window. Now, my homie who put up this quote here on Twitter, he also had a couple of more that I wanted to kind of piggyback off too. He said, and this is coming from Big Blue Coming F1 on Twitter. If you want to join the conversation on Twitter, you can pop up into the thread. All you got to do is search @Awthentik and search @Big Blue Coming F1. Now, he continued to say, the goal is to get good as fast as possible with as high of an upside as possible. When do you see us contending if we continue neglecting the quarterback position? Impossible to say, right? Is that a better approach? And that's my question for you. Do you think that it's better to try to build your team and wait around to try to draft that quarterback? Or do you think that when you see a guy out there and you get the opportunity of a proven quarterback, you go out there and you sign, seal, deliver the deal?
I'm obviously a little bit of both. I know that's like a horrible answer, right? But I think it all depends on the player and the availability, obviously. Because hypothetically, it's like if Patrick Mahomes becomes available, then yeah, obviously, right?
Right.
But then it's like you don't want to reach, and a lot of people associate that term reach with the draft, but it also plays a huge role in free agency. A lot of times people reach in free agency because of the limited pool that is in free agency. Like some people might say that Kenny Golladay might have been a reach. Allen Robinson might have been a reach. You know, like because the wide receiver free agency pool was so thin. So, I mean, listen, Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. Before this season, You couldn't find anybody who didn't think that Russell Wilson wasn't a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. Right?
I would say you wouldn't be able to find somebody that wouldn't say that Russell wasn't a top 5 quarterback in the NFL entering the 2021 season.
Exactly. So it's like, and people are just, it's such a microwave society that people think, like, if it's not just one game, like, like Lamar Jackson throws 4 interceptions in one game, and Lamar Jackson can't throw the football. Jalen Hurts throws 4 interceptions in one game. Oh, Jalen Hurts is the worst quarterback in the NFC East. It's just, and then it's like, so, they look at Russell Wilson, they see the record, they see the stats, the dude has a finger that is like flopping around. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just.
And we saw how that hurt Taysom Hill too in that game against the Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly. And then you say something like, oh, well, Russell Wilson, what's the point of having Russell Wilson if we don't have an offensive line? I don't know if you guys have been watching football at all over the past decade.
He's never had an
Seattle's
offensive line.
never had an offensive line, ever. You know what I'm saying? They had
and
Marshawn
I think it's just
Lynch.
the Daniel Jones stands, like they so want it to work out for Daniel Jones. And I also think it's the people that are sold on the true traditional pocket passer, and we know New York is a place where that has always been the case. We've never had a true mobile quarterback in New York at all. Now, the other thing I want to talk about too is, like, when you look at Matthew Stafford, he is not as good of a quarterback as Russell Wilson. I don't care what nobody says, and Matthew Stafford is a high caliber quarterback, but Russell Wilson is a better quarterback to me. Now, when they traded for Matthew Stafford with the Rams, it cost them the 2 first-round picks in Jared Goff, right? But this was with the assumption that the 2 first-round picks were not going to be as high up as what New York is about to be offering here. I believe if the draft started today, New York Giants and the New York Jets are going to go back and forth 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. So for me, you might not even have to give up 2 first-rounders here. And a lot of people are saying, don't give up any first-round draft capital to bring in a guy like Russell Wilson, right? But these are the same fans that were crying when we benched Eli Manning as he was, 38 years old? And people were like, why are we benching Eli Manning? And we cried and cried and cried until they finally brought Eli Manning back in the game. Russell Wilson is 33 years old. There's a long window there. And I think that a lot of those same fans, they think that we're going to be able to go out here and draft 2 offensive linemen in the first round of this draft, and that is just going to magically fix every offensive line problem. Like, these guys are just going to be can't-miss kind of prospects when we know a lot of picks are going to miss in the first round. Every year it happens. It happens every year. So for me, I always say this on this show, man, the proof is in the pudding. So this is why I wanted to present this. And this isn't just for Russell Wilson. This is for anybody out there that's going to be in the quarterback market that the Giants can maybe pull the trigger on and bring somebody in. Because, look, it goes back to what my homie here, Big Blue Coming F1, says. We are 3 things away. You got to start sealing the deal on these things. And pass rush is definitely important. We're going to need a solid pass rush to try to contend with some of these teams. Thank God that the Giants right now have had that consecutive streak that I believe was broken on Sunday against the Miami Dolphins, where we had a takeaway in every game. I don't think we got a takeaway against Tua and the Miami Dolphins. But if it wasn't for that, this defense would be struggling even more. And this defense is not top caliber. I'm going to talk about it when we go into this game here. We are about 12 minutes away from kickoff, so I do want to get into that. But I wanted to start this off with, like, for all you fans out there that are saying, no on Russell Wilson, you got to have better reasoning. I'm sorry. Just settling for a mediocre quarterback in Daniel Jones right now, who plays nothing above average football just because it makes sense with the dollars and it allows us to keep our draft picks, that's not a good enough reason. Plenty of teams have built their teams, and the Rams are the most successful as of recent. And we know with the Indianapolis Colts, when they drafted Andrew Luck, that completely shifted the whole trajectory of the future for that team. They went from being a horrible team, I think they were 4-12, going to 11-5 in one season. So for me, solidify the quarterback position. Before you do that, make sure you got the right coach. Because right now, with what Joe Judge said to the press after that game and what he's been saying all week, I'm starting to feel like he thinks that the fan base is idiots. And for the fan base that is following what he's saying, he might be right. He really might be right. We might be that silly where Joe Judge can come up here and just
naive.
Dude, I swear I listened to his press conference from yesterday, this morning, and the first 4 minutes, I didn't get, like, it felt like somebody was just going like this, blah, 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 right there, blah, 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 right there. I'm like, Let me rewind that, dog, because he ain't say nothing. He didn't say nothing. I'm just like, what is going on here, man? But for me, that's reasoning enough to bring in a guy like Russell Wilson. The real issue is how you're going to be able to create room in the salary cap to be able to pay the man. That's the real issue. And is there a team out there that's going to take a trade for Daniel Jones when he has proven in his first 3 seasons, we're talking about over 45 games, he's nothing above average right now. I mean, it'd be nice to see him play, and I hope he gets well with this neck injury because we are struggling at the quarterback position for sure. But I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention before we moved into this into the Giants-Chargers game here.
Before we do that, just get to these super chats before they start to disappear. Tuto for the $4.99 super chat says, Saluti, authentic. Drop by your office to pay our proper respects. And for Giants Nation, we slap all slimy, stinky Eagles fans.
Hey, I watched Ace Ventura again last night. Again, dog. Like, it's the little nuances, bro. It's just the little nuances, man. I love, like, when he was sitting in the room, he was like, Finkel, Einhorn, Finkel, Einhorn. Then it was like 3 hours later, Finkel, Einhorn. Finkel is Einhorn. And it finally clicked for him. I was like, bro, that movie is so classic, man. But shout out to the homie Tuto in the building one time, man. You know what it is, man. One of the biggest supporters of the Giants community, man. We definitely appreciate you pulling up, my G. Thank you for pulling up.
And big shout out to Lax044 for the $4.99 super chat. Says, I wouldn't mind trading for Wilson, but I'm not going to give up both first-round picks for him if that's the asking price. Too many holes to give up both. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I'm with you on that, Lax. I'm totally with you on that. But it could be like a James Bradbury, Daniel Jones, and a first-round pick.
Oh, yeah.
See
Even
you
a
later.
first-round pick and like a fourth-round pick. I don't think I'd be mad at that. Like, because you have 2 first-round picks, so you can always turn some of those picks into other picks too. So, and big shout-out to ENA. We got time for the $4.99 super chat. Says, in his career, Matt Stafford doesn't have 10 wins against winning teams. If we can get Russ for a first and second in 2 seconds, I'll go pick him up from the airport.
Shout out ENA, we got time. That's facts, bro. I'm right there with you, man. I will drive to go scoop that man for real.
You guys can all pile up in a minivan like we go to the Washington Giant tailgate. Right. Big shout out to Tuto for the $4.99 super chat. Says, all bad owners hire moron GMs. Bad GMs hire moron head coaches. Bad head coaches bringing in garbage players.
I like that.
And who would lose every season? That's a new one. Shout out to Tuto.
Tuto. That's facts, bro. That's big facts, yo.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's listen, what we just talked about could be a whole other video.
For sure. And we
might have to dive into that.
We definitely going to get there. But now I got a little bit of a roadmap for my New York Giants, kind of. I don't know if this roadmap is going to be successful, but we're going to see. We're going to
plug it into GPS anyways.
We're going to plug it into GPS and see if we going to get there. We going to see. So it's going to be really hard to try to stop this Chargers offense, man. Right now, one benefit that we have going for us right now is that Keenan Allen is looking like he is not going to play in this game, and they will possibly be without Mike Williams as well. And if that is the case, that's definitely going to help this New York Giants defense because, we've been playing pretty decent in the last couple of weeks, but there are some glaring statistics here that don't lend well towards the New York Giants. And last week versus the Bengals, Justin Herbert was just lights out. I know a lot of people were talking about your boy Joe Burrow had a better game than him, but the number one stat here is the win column, and the Chargers won that game 41-22. Justin Herbert was 74% completion percentage on the day, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Mike Williams balled out, which is why I'm hoping that there's a chance that he won't play in this game. He had 5 receptions for 110 yards, and the Giants are going to have to try to find a way to stop Austin Eckler, man. We know how the Giants do against running backs. We are not that great against the running game. Austin Eckler last week, the Bengals did contain him pretty well. He had 14 carries for 59 yards, but what I didn't like about the stat line was they allowed him to get 5 catches for 45 yards, so that's just over 100 all-purpose yards. Now, the Chargers scored 41 points last week in their victory against the Bengals. The Giants have scored 32 points in 3 weeks straight total. So they could beat our offense if our offense was on the field for 3 weeks straight against the Chargers last week performance. The Chargers are 9th in the NFL in points per game. They're averaging 26.2 points per game. They also average 3.2 touchdowns per game. And they're also the 8th best team in the red zone as far as efficiency goes, 64%. Now, the Chargers' offensive line, it's been repaired, and they are one of the number one reasons why I'm saying with the New York Giants, it does not take 4 years to rebuild an offensive line. Last year, the Chargers had the 31st ranked offensive line and the 9th ranked offense. You see that they're kind of still around that same kind of a place. They're 9th ranked at 26.2 points per game. A lot of this is because of the 13th pick, Rashawn Slater, out of Northwestern. He's second right now among all left tackles in pass block win rate at 91.5%. Can you just I could play quarterback and not even look over my left shoulder with Rashawn Slater over there playing at the left tackle position. Now, when the Chargers, it's a luxury, straight up. And it's not just in the passing game. When the Chargers run to his side, to the left side, they average 6.3 rushing yards per play. When they run to the that's second in the NFL. Keep that in mind. That's second in the NFL. When they run to the left, 6.3 yards per game. When they run to the right, they're ranked 29th. So they're ranked second when they run to the left, but they're ranked 29th when they run to the right, right? That's a nugget for sure.
I bet you number one is for the left-hand side is probably San Francisco with Trent Williams.
Yeah,
Trent
I wouldn't doubt
is
it.
the highest graded offensive lineman. I think he might be the highest graded player in the NFL according to PFF this year. So
that's ridiculous. Now we know he's been in the league for a while, seasoned left tackle. Your boy Rashawn Slater here in his first year, and that prompts me to talk about maybe an award that he might be able to win. Recently on ESPN, Mina Kimes, who I really like, Mina Kimes. She's got great takes, very confident. She said that the Chargers could win Offensive Rookie of the Year again and go back-to-back because we know Justin Herbert won it last season, and an offensive lineman has never won that award. So maybe,
people
just
would lose
maybe.
If that happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, this guy has a 91.5% win rate on pass blocks is ridiculous. That for a rookie, it's completely ridiculous. And we know the hog mollies get overlooked for the skill positions. I would have said maybe Jamar Chase would have been that guy who's, front running.
Nobody's been consistent the entire year.
Nobody's been consistent, and we're looking at consistency, the definition of it right here with the Chargers. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers that that's possible, man. A hog molly deserves to win that. That's an award that we don't consider the lineman, that's not a good look. So I think it'll be a long day for the New York Giants, especially if the Chargers are healthy coming into this game. It's looking like Keenan Allen's not going to be there. But if they can have Mike Williams, I think that's going to help the quarterback for sure. The Giants' defense right now is allowing 22.3 points per game. So that 26 that the Chargers are averaging, it looks like they're probably going to be right around that realm. I'd say somewhere high 20s, maybe close to the 30s. And the Giants' rushing defense is not that good right now. We're 25th in the NFL, allowing 122.8 rushing yards per game. And we're also allowing 365 total yards per game. That's 24th and 25th in the NFL. There's one way to win this game.
Roadmap. What is it?
Run
Barkley?
the damn ball.
Yes. I literally have it written right down here.
You got to run the damn ball. We got to run the damn ball. That's really what it's about. And we're going to have to be able to stop the run. I talked about Austin Eckler. You're going to want to be able to stop the run and stop him as a running back in the passing game. Now, the Chargers right now, I know this had to be one of the Beard's Nuggets over there. So I'm going to have to steal a quick nugget, dip it in my barbecue sauce here one time. The Chargers are allowing 141.1 rushing yards per game. It is second to last in the NFL right now. The key to winning this game is you got to keep Justin Herbert on the sidelines, kind of like how we did against the Raiders. A lot of people didn't like that game plan from Jason Garrett, but I think it's going to take a similar game plan. The Giants' rushing attack has not been that great, man. The Giants right now are averaging 3.9 yards per rush attempt. That's 26th in the NFL. And we're averaging 90.8 rushing yards per game. That's also 26th in the NFL. Another stat that really bothered me here was we're ranked 28th in rushing touchdowns per game. We don't even average a rushing touchdown per game. It's 0.6 per game. And we know the Giants are going to have to capitalize in the red zone. This is the last point I wanted to make on this. We're dead last in the NFL in red zone efficiency right now.
Yep.
41.94% in the red zone. And to top that off, what makes that stat even that much more worse is that we're 27th in red zone attempts. So not only are we low in efficiency, we're low in attempts. We've talked about this a lot on the year. If you're going to be a team that's going to have a low efficiency in the red zone, you better be one of those teams at the top as far as attempts go. Giants are 31st in red zone efficiency and 27th in red zone attempts. This game, man, I would do what you talking about, the Beard, when you talking about the Washington football team. Let's get like 35, 40 rush attempts from this New York Giants offense. Rely on Saquon Barkley. Rely on Devontae Booker. And if you got to bring in Brightwell to just have, a fresh pair of legs off the bench to just give you a couple more carries, feel the rhythm. Feel the ride.
Get on up. It's run the damn ball time.
Run the damn ball time.
Running.
That's really the roadmap, man. For me, that's the roadmap. I can't pick the Giants in this game. I'm gonna give you a score right now. I know we're running out of time. We're getting to kickoff, and we do want to talk about that Pittsburgh Steelers game. I got a bunch of nuggets for that game, but I got to go with the Chargers here, man. I'm gonna go 29. The Giants have not scored a lot of points, man. I'm gonna go 29-13. Los Angeles Chargers in this one.
I mean, listen, you hit on so many key points, and as we like to say here at Awthentik and The Beard, nuggets. Listen, the one matchup that I am keeping my eye on is the health and who's going to play between Mike Williams and Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson, is the guy who you're going to put on Mike Williams, okay? Now, the Giants recently have been playing that defense where they're just letting everything happen up front and they're, taking away the deep passes. Without Keenan Allen, you have Mike Williams. Mike Williams is a deep ball receiver. That's what he does. You're not going to see Mike Williams run a lot of stuff in the middle of the field. You're going to see him run, the deep ball. So that's what's going to be important to me defensively for the Giants. Obviously, you want to be able to stop the run. The problem is keeping all that stuff in front of you is Austin Eckler is not, every other running back in the National Football League. He catches that ball at the line of scrimmage. He could be, 20, 30 yards before you figure out how to tackle the guy.
Yeah.
So that could be something that could be like a double-edged sword sort of situation for the Giants defensively. Now, offensively, yes, you have to figure out how to run the ball. Just look. We talked about this in the game last week that the Giants lost. The third quarter, you stop Miami, and then you come out offensively. Saquon gets a big run. Devin Booker gets a big run. And then that's it. You don't run the ball again anymore. And people will keep saying, "Oh, well, Saquon only has one big run a game." It's because there's no rhythm. You got to give this guy the ball consistently, get a rhythm. And look, I know that the offensive line is not blocking for the run very well. So get creative. Figure out a way. Run some counters. Pull some guards. You know what I'm saying?
And I looked at some 22-man camera from the Giants running plays. Every Saquon Barkley running play, there's always a mistake up front, man. They always miss a block. Somebody's getting beat, and Saquon Barkley's having to do something in the backfield. That reverse play that he got last week was a good example of it. It got blown up. And also when they had Saquon Barkley in the Wildcat last week, it got blown up because of the backside guard just missing a block. So it's like they just got to get it together and be able to. Just like you're saying, man, they need some kind of chemistry, and they need to get a rhythm. Put a helmet on somebody and just make a block, man. You're seeing people whiff and miss blocks on the Giants game in and game out.
And another thing is, too, is we still don't know who's playing quarterback, whether it's Jake Fromm, Mike Glennon. I mean, I guess we can already say Daniel Jones probably isn't going to play, but one of those two guys is going to play quarterback. And the Los Angeles Chargers are getting to the quarterback at an insane rate right now. Last week, they had 6 sacks and 11 quarterback hits on Joe Burrow. So, you got Bosa coming on the edge for whoever is back there, whichever statue's back there. So
and he had that big injury that everybody thought was going to be maybe season ending, but he bounced back, came back in the game too. So,
he did.
I don't know how healthy he is, but.
Look, I want to see nothing more than Saquon Barkley be successful. I want to come back on Monday and watch Giant Overreaction after a win. You guys don't know, Giant Overreaction every Monday, hosted by yours truly, Mr. Awthentik. But look,
yes,
I can't find it right now. Who knows? The Chargers have been very suspect at times this year. Maybe this is a down game for the Chargers. We don't know. We're gonna see. But I got the Los Angeles Chargers winning this game by a final score of 31-15.
Yeah, we're not too far off in the scores. You said 31-15. I said 31-13. So Yeah, we're definitely right there in agreement on the score, man. We'll see how it goes. I think it's probably a better option to go with Jake Fromm at quarterback just to see if he's ready, first
Yeah,
of
who
all.
knows,
You
right?
know, you never know. This kid could maybe do some magic. We'll see what happens. I know when people were looking at Taylor Heineke in practice, they weren't like, man, there goes our starting quarterback. But then you put him in the game, the lights come on, the dude turns into Alter Beast and just powers up and he's ready to go. So maybe we could have something like that in Jake Fromm, and it'll let you know that if you're going to keep him on the roster going into the 2022 football season.
Big shout out to Tuto for the $4.99 super chat. Says owners with a championship vision always build a championship teams, and in no time they'll always find a way at any cost. I mean, you see that a lot in this day and age in football too. You know,
Yeah, that's real, man. Shout out Tudo one time in the building.
Tuto. Big shout out to Independent Outsider for the $5 super chat. Says at this point we should be testing or unplayed rookies if there are any.
Oh, R. Maybe that's an R.
Yeah. Okay. Our unplayed rookies, if there are any, who should the Giants give more of a chance to in these last few games?
I mean, who hasn't really played is the question.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, at this
maybe Gary
point, it's like-
Brightwell.
Yeah,
You know,
Brightwell.
Um,
Be somebody you might wanna
Matt
see.
Pert is a guy that I know people want to see a little bit more of with Nate Solder struggling. Shout out Zach Zilla one time talking about Alter Beast Sega Classic. You know what it is. The Beard just sold a Sega Master System just a couple weeks back maybe for like $200 or something like that, man.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of any other players that might deserve some playing time. We already got our 2 rookies playing on the edges. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably it. Gary Brightwell, maybe a little bit of Caden Smith. We just signed a
some
rookie.
of those receivers, Colin
some
Johnson.
of those receivers. We just signed a new receiver to the practice squad, so maybe next week he can get some play. And we also signed another quarterback, Lewerke, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
We'll see, man.
Quarterback you said? Brian Lewerke?
Yeah, we signed him from
Michigan
State, I
State
believe.
University? Yeah.
Yeah, we signed him.
Frank the Tank and I, that's so funny. Frank the Tank and I had a conversation about him this Sunday.
Oh, really? I'm
'cause
gonna
I
have
was-
to pick Frank's brain and see what he thinks about him and see if he's
If there's anybody who knows anything about a college football player from Michigan State or most of the Big Ten guys, Tank. That's Tank's wheelhouse.
I remember he used to always talk about Draymond Green because Draymond Green was over there, right? He was a Spartan as well, and he used to talk about he used to sell him CDs and all that. Power her up. You know what it is, man. All right, man. So we both got scores on that. Y'all know what it is. Kickoff seems to already happen here. So let's get into this Steelers-Vikings matchup one time here. The Pittsburgh Steelers have an all-important matchup against the 5-7 Minnesota Vikings tonight on Thursday Night Football. A win for the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 13 against the Baltimore Ravens was huge. At 6-5-1, Mike Tomlin's team is still a long shot to win the division. However, the Steelers are still very much alive in the AFC wildcard race. Both these teams face off tonight in a must-win game for both sides. I'm going to run through a couple of nuggets real quick. The Vikings are 1-4 on Thursday Night Football and 10-13 in all regular season night games in 8 seasons under Coach Mike Zimmer. We know as of recent, a lot of that has had to do with Kirk Cousins, for sure. Primetime cannot play. But Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins has a league-leading 5 games this year with 300 or more passing yards and at least 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. We talked about the homie Tyler Conklin at tight end, and I was kind of like not sold, but he tied a career high with 7 catches last week. He has at least 2 receptions in 12 straight games. That's tying Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, and Kyle Pitts for the longest active streak in the league right now by a tight end. Since the bye week, the Vikings have allowed an average of 406 yards per game, the league's worst rate over that 6-week span. Now, there's a couple little records here on the line, too. For the Steelers, quarterback Ben Roethlisberger is 242 passing yards away from becoming the 6th quarterback in NFL history to reach 3,000 yards in 15 seasons. Roethlisberger needs 335 passing yards to pass Phillip Rivers for 5th place on the all-time list. The Steelers are going to be without cornerback Joe Hayden, who will miss his 4th straight game with a sprained foot, and the Vikings listed running back Dalvin Cook as questionable, but I think I just got the text that said he is going to be active in this game. Wide receiver Adam Thielen is dealing with an ankle, and left tackle Christian Darrisaw is also going to be out in this game as well. Patrick Peterson has returned from the COVID-19 reserve list, and linebackers Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr are both going to return to the lineup. Now, the last little nugget I wanted to bring up here too, I got 2 more nuggets actually. And this one surprised the hell out of me, bro. This one surprised the hell out of me. TJ Watt, he leads the league right now with sacks, with 16 sacks. He's already tied James Harrison for the team's single-season record and is on pace to slip by the NFL single-season mark set by New York Giants Hall of Famer Michael Strahan. Okay? So TJ Watt, you got to keep your eye on him. We got a bunch of games left, and he's pushing to break Michael Strahan's record that I thought wasn't going to be broken. I think it's 21. It might be 22. I'm not too sure. Watt is coming off of a 3.5 sack performance against the Baltimore Ravens. He didn't practice with the team all week after being placed on the COVID-19 list, but I think he's expected to play. The Steelers had 7 sacks against the Baltimore Ravens in this past week. Now, 2 other quick nuggets. We're going to move to the wide receiver position here. Justin Jefferson has 577 receiving yards over the last 4 games. It's the most in Vikings history in a 4-game span. Jefferson needs 156 more to set the all-time NFL record for most receiving yards in a player's first 2 seasons, which is ridiculous. New York Giants fans know we watched Odell Beckham in his first 2-3 seasons, 5 seasons even, just completely balling out and pushing those records as far as yards go. Now, Steelers wide receiver Deontay Johnson has 31 receptions for 384 yards and 3 touchdowns in his last 4 games. I'd look for him to be a key mismatch in this game for the Vikings. That Vikings defense, they're better against the pass. They also struggle against the run, but I'd look for Deontay Johnson to have his day with that Vikings secondary. And last, running back, and this is a quiet one too, Najee Harris, 779 yards on the season. He is on pace to break Hall of Famer Franco Harris's record for rushing yards by a Steelers rookie. Franco Harris had 1,055 yards in 1972, so look for your boy Najee Harris to get the ball a lot. I'm going to go ahead and give you a score on this one right off the bat. This is another hard game. Now, I picked the Lions last week to get their first win against the Minnesota Vikings. The Steelers are sitting at 6-5-1. The Vikings at 5-7. I think Mike Tomlin is going to be the difference maker in this game. He's one of the best coaches in the game. I'm going to go with the Steelers in this one in a close game. I'm going to say that it's going to be 23-19 for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, I got 24-21 for the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Minnesota Vikings. Listen, Justin Jefferson is a guy. I mean, he had 180-something yards last week. Now, no Adam Thielen. It'll be interesting to see how long he's out for. KJ Osborne is a guy that's going to have to step up for the Minnesota Vikings in the absence of Adam Thielen. So KJ Osborne is a guy to keep your eye on. And then the other thing is Minnesota has a rookie by the name of, and I'm not going to say his name today because I don't want to butcher it. I want to be respectful of his name, but I do know it's his first name is Kane, and I think it's Nwangu is how you say the last name.
Sounded right.
He has 2 returns for touchdowns this year. He is kick returns, and he is an all-around guy. Can play running back, can play receiver, can return. He can do everything. So I think they're going to start trying to use his big play capability a little bit more, especially in the absence of Adam Thielen. So he's definitely somebody to keep your eye on this year, the rest of these games and tonight. And then Dalvin Cook is going to be wearing a shoulder harness. According to Adam Schefter, the last time he wore this shoulder harness was in the 2020 wildcard game where he had 31 carries for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He might want to pull a Rip Hamilton and just rock the shoulder harness even when it's all healed up. Straight up.
I think this is going to be an interesting game, but yeah, I just think that the Steelers are going to find a way to win. I mean, both of these teams are in must-win situations right now. If they want to keep up in this playoff race. I love Najee Harris in this game. Chase Claypool is going to need to step up too. If you guys get a chance, watch Steve Smith on the Pat McAfee show today. He talked about the differences between Chase Claypool's route running and some of these other receivers, and how Chase Claypool needs to start figuring out how to do a little bit more intricate route running instead of just running and throwing the ball up to him. So definitely some interesting insight from Steve Smith Sr. So
shout out Stephen White
Steelers.
one time in the building, man. He says, "Good luck, Beard. We coming to take the close
the East at your house."
At your house.
Before they take Washington out of the team's name, too. Cheers to the old days. 42-24 boys.
That's crazy. The Beard was talking also about how if the Washington football team were to pull a miracle and win the Super Bowl, do they keep the name the Washington football team? And I think they should, if that's the case. Even if you get to the Super Bowl, I think you might want to keep the name. But that's not looking like what's going to happen right now. Stephen White, we appreciate you pulling up, man. We still got a good 36 in the building, man. Yo, we couldn't do this without y'all, man. We talked about that at the beginning of the show, man. It is what it is, man. And we're going to continue to try to deliver, the high-quality content that we've been delivering for y'all for now 3 seasons. And it's going to be fun for New York Giants fans to go into this offseason. I'm going to keep it funky with you and see what the New York Giants do. But we're not going to hold y'all too long. You know what it is, man. Raise that bar. Let me see them biceps in the chat one time before we get up out of here. Left side.
Strong side.
Y'all know what it is, man. And this beat is called What Have You Done For Yourself, man. So make sure you putting yourself as the primary, put your at the top of the list of things that got to get taken care of is you first before you taking care of anybody else, man. And you know what it is, man. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, man. We'll be back at it on Monday, or actually on Sunday for the parlay first. Then we'll be here on Monday for the Giant overreaction. Tuesday, we'll be back for the recaps of the Sunday's games. And maybe we'll break down what the playoff, situation is looking like then and see who's in the hunt and see who's got a spot. Washington football team looking really great, man. Best of luck to all of y'all teams. Y'all know what it is. And one more time, keep living those dreams, man. Keep living those dreams. Keep raising that bar, man. Y'all know what it is. Awthentik and The Beard. Y'all be good. We will see y'all on Sunday morning. Peace.